Transit TV, welcome back. Welcome back to UEFA Champions League studios. First games of the knockout stage just concluded today. 4 games in 2 days. I'm here with my man Ugum for the recap of these games. Of course, Copenhagen played at home to Manchester City, and RB Leipzig was at home against Real Madrid. Today we saw Lazio win Bayern Munich 1-0, a 10-man Bayern Munich, a game that Bayern Munich ended with no shots on target. And of course, PSG was at home to Real Sociedad. Ugum, before we continue, I don't know if you remember, I know you have heard what happened today in Kansas Chiefs, in their celebration parade, this coward and atrocious event that happened today, a shooter. As we speak, one person is confirmed dead and several people injured. We commiserate with the families of the people who are affected and the team, of course, and the people of Kansas. And we pray that those who are injured no more lives will be lost, and this kind of incident will not happen again. You can imagine in the moment of celebration and joy, somebody decides to go south with with this cowardly act. Ugumja, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reggie. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and our hearts and prayers go out to all the victims, anybody affected by the recent shootings, both at Lakewood Church in Houston and at Kansas City today. It's still beggars belief. It's hard to understand how human beings would, pick up guns and go out and try to take other people's lives. We commiserate with those that have lost loved ones, and we pray for those that are injured and pray for healing, divine and quick healing for them.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Yeah, of course, like I said, Champions League, the highest level, the business end of it, the time, of course, the shafts have been separated from the values. Right now is that stage where you know which teams are which in Europe. The pressures are mounting after what happened to Bayern Munich under Tuchel over the weekend. Of course, Alonso dismantled Bayern 3-0. Today, again, they lose at home. The pressure is mounting for Thomas Tuchel. The Sarri ball was superior today. Two coaches, they are former the Chelsea coaches. And of course, Madrid continue their onslaught. City did what City does yesterday. PSG, with the inspiration of Mbappe, came over Real Sociedad today. Yesterday was a Tuesday win for away teams. Today was a Wednesday win for home teams. Ugum, let's start from City. I don't know, for long spans of that game, City kind of struggled to break down Copenhagen. This is a game that normally you think City will run them over easily. But from the way the game panned out, it took almost to the end of that game for City to stamp the authority. When you see the scoreline 3-1, you would think City was all over them or created chances or scored those game goals early. What do you make about this City? And this is not just a one-off thing. It's been a kind of a regular with City these days, that they find it difficult to break teams down and get their goals most times towards the last quarter of games. What do you think? What do you put this to?
Well, I would say it's more about the defensive schemes that are being set up by opponents. Of course, generally opponents pack the bus, and if your opponents are always on the defensive side, their first mission is to stop you from scoring. So it takes patience, it takes effort, it takes commitment, and the level of intensity for you to be able to get one over an opponent that has packed the bus. So, I mean, I support Arsenal. I see that happen many times. I can imagine that it's even worse for City because if you go toe to toe with them, you're likely going to lose. So that's why it's a bit difficult. And their passing schemes are pretty rhythmic. They believe in doing the same things over and over and over until they wear you out. They don't tend to vary their plays. So for people that have studied their plays, they just keep those banks of two lines, and then make it very hard for them to penetrate through the middle. So most times you have to be something through the flanks or some quick passing and quick thinking by either Foden or De Bruyne to open up the defense. So yes, that's what happened with Leipzig. Leipzig simply just closed all the channels and protected their 18-yard box.
Yeah,
And City
Copenhagen.
found it very hard to.
It was Copenhagen.
Was it Copenhagen? Copenhagen. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Yes. Found it hard to
break.
break through them. Yes, and then but they were able to do it. And towards the end of the game, Copenhagen had to come out a little bit, and they got punished for it.
Yeah, another thing of worry is City conceding in almost every game. They're struggling in keeping clean sheets these days. In this game again, they consider, of course, I think Copenhagen actually scored first, and City responded immediately, and of course got the other two goals towards the end of the game. Is it a worry for them? And do you think Copenhagen can they dream? Is it possible for them to do anything on the second leg?
It is a worry for them because they don't normally concede a lot of goals. But the goal they considered was a mistake by the goalkeeper. He gave a wrong pass to the opponent, and they got punished for it. So yes, I have also noticed it's something that will give their opponents, the people that are tussling with them, some level of hope, because City normally don't concede a lot, but they are starting to concede goals. And when that happens, one of these days, they may concede and may not be able to come back and overcome like they usually do. So, yes, I would say there's some hope there. For the second leg, I think it's done. It's done for Copenhagen. If they want to win the second leg, it means they have to come out and attack,
And they
right?
will
And when
do,
you
yeah,
come out to attack, they will
they will do
slice
well.
you. One thing is they've lost Grealish to an injury. I don't know how bad it is, but Grealish is a key player for City in terms of tearing opponents down with both with dribbling and with pace and with passing. So he seems pretty unhappy. He seemed pretty unhappy and distraught after that injury yesterday. He was at a point of tears. So I don't know how serious it is, but it will be a blow to City. In addition to Cavadio, that's also um, injured.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in all you've said. The only thing I disagree with you kind of is Grealish has not been having playing time recently, except there's an understanding that he'll be playing the Champions League. I think Pep have been using more of Doku on the left than Grealish, except maybe there's a schedule that Grealish plays in Champions League. One thing I know he does very well is to win free kicks. When you have all these low blocks, he's a player that can win you free kicks close to opponents' 18 and goal, and which City sometimes can create goals from. Yeah, I believe. I think I agree with you. This one is done for Copenhagen. City will go through to quarterfinals after this stage. Then we move to Real Madrid. What have you made of this Real Madrid new style of low block and hitting teams on counter attack, regardless of who they are playing against? I didn't expect yesterday that RB Leipzig will come out and control the game the way they did against Real Madrid. Real Madrid only tried to hit them on a counter. I know Madrid was playing at home, playing away, but for a team of the Madrid stature, I didn't expect them to approach the game like that. And I've seen that many times this season. I don't know what you have made of this approach by their coach.
I, I put it down to Carlo Ancelotti and his wily ways. The man is a smart man. Considering the tools he has. Remember that right now, Real Madrid don't have an established goal scorer. They have what's his name? What? How to pronounce his name? the striker that they bought that isn't so. The guy is just a very good header of the ball. He's not the person that they can count on. They've counted on Jude Bellingham. I think that one of the reasons they played really defensively like that, like the way they did against Leipzig, was Bellingham's absence.
Yeah,
If Bellingham was fit, they tend to be a bit more adventurous and
aggressive.
expansive. So he simply just used the squad, to put his key players to play on the counter, put Kamavinga there because the ball, Kamavinga can carry the ball from 18-yard box to 18-yard box pretty confidently and conveniently because of his pace and because of the physicality that he has. The likes of Chomini as well. So, yeah, he's very pragmatic coach, Ancelotti. Very smart man, very understated, very cerebral in his way of operations. But he's almost always very effective. So he studies his opponents and figures out. He knew that Leipzig is a good possession football side, and he didn't want to take any risks. So he, took that strategy of defending first and then scoring on the counter.
Yeah, well, for me, is a little bit of a strange approach by Real Madrid. I believe Madrid has what it takes to attack most teams in Europe, particularly RB. Last week is a team that keeps high lines. So I was expecting a more like aggressive approach from Real Madrid, but I was a little bit surprised at the approach that they took. I mean, it was effective. They got the 3 points away from home. They go to Spain and try to finish up the job. Based on the way Leipzig played in this game and the bravery they showed in the approach they showed in the game, do you think there's any hope for them? Could they surprise Madrid in Spain?
I think there's hope for them. Yeah, I think there's hope for them because Leipzig are a very tricky side. They have some really good players. The likes of Sesko, the likes of the French guy that they bought from Ron last season. They have some really good forwards that can punish you. And so if they are able to defend well, which is very hard against the likes of Vinicius or Rodrigo, if they're able to defend well, they have a chance of getting 1 or 2 goals in Madrid, and the conversation changes. So yes, unlike Copenhagen that I've completely ruled out, I think Leipzig still has a chance.
Yes, I agree with you completely, 100%. I trust Leipzig to probably they have the ability to surprise Real Madrid in Spain. They can do it. They have the players, their approach. Technically, they have some players. They defensively they are strong as well. I mean, considering just 1 goal, though Madrid with the pace of Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo, that poses a well. I mean, they have nothing to lose. So if they go all out in Spain, either they get punished or they get a result. So we'll see what happens with that game. Then we'll move on to today's games. Of course, Bayern Munich losing to Lazio, Sarri ball against Thomas Tuchel. I remember when Chelsea was having their issues, I was of the opinion that Thomas Tuchel, for me, is at the foundation of the recent trouble that City is facing. I know most people have put it down to the way Todd Boehly conducted business when he took over from Chelsea, but I believe Chelsea's problem started under Tuchel before Todd Boehly came in. Half season, the middle of the season before end of that season that Tuchel eventually left the next season. He could see the cracks, the way Chelsea was playing. They were struggling to score goals. They couldn't break teams down. And I also feel that Thomas Tuchel is a good tactician, but he's not a good manager. I don't think he has a good interpersonal skills or know how to manage players. He usually falls out with players. Once they go in great stuff, he starts to fight with his players. And I think that's what is happening in Bayern now. The pressure is piling up for him. It's unheard of that Bayern Munich played 90 minutes of Champions League football with no shot on target a week after they lost 3-0 to Leverkusen to a rookie coach in the name of Alonso. That's really a very tough one for Bayern fans to take. I know there's not going to be an easy thing for the Bayern family in Germany. Is really going to be under serious pressure. I don't know what you have made of Bayern under Thomas Tuchel?
I don't rate Thomas Tuchel very highly. Sorry to say that. I haven't seen anything really attractive about his style and about the way his teams play. He may have won honors in the past, but I've watched him from when he joined Chelsea and even before
From
till
PSG.
date. From PSG, I haven't seen anything distinctive or unique about Tuchel. I think he's seriously overhyped and got so lucky to come into Chelsea at a point where he just needed to organize the team and introduce a few new things, and they were able to win. And so he has confirmed my
Doubt.
opinion or my feelings about him now at Bayern. The same thing is happening. If you watch them, they are not inspired. They are not inspirational either. There's no clear plan as to a system, as to the way they play. And his choice of personnel, imagine going to Tottenham to go buy Dyer to come and improve your side, Bayern Munich. Yeah, so I just don't get what's going on there. And I hear he's dropped some of the regular players there, and yeah, it's causing a lot of problems in the dressing room. And he's stubborn. He wants to show that he's the boss. So yeah, he's not my cup of tea, to be honest. I'm sure he is for many other people. And all I can see for Bayern under Tuchel is a disaster.
Yeah, I agree with you. So based on that, do you still see Bayern as favorites?
No, I do not. I do not see Bayern as favorites. Upamecano has gotten a red card in this game. Yes, they will come firing. Well, let me not say they'll come firing. They'll put up a fight in Munich, I'm sure. But let's see if Lazio, conversely, Sarri is a coach that I rate. Sarri came to Chelsea within 2 months, 3 months. You could see what they call Sarri ball. Yes, Chelsea completely changed. I mean, that's when I knew that, man, there are some good coaches out there. Sarri was one of the men. I couldn't watch Chelsea for 5 minutes prior to that man arriving at Chelsea. But once he arrived at Chelsea, I could sit down and actually watch the game and enjoy it. So yeah, um, it remains. It's going to be interesting how the second leg pans out.
Yeah, for me, I don't rate Bayern. The way they are playing right now, I even place Arsenal ahead of them in the Champions League. And Arsenal has not played their game yet, but behind the Real Madrid and Manchester City, I will have Arsenal before I put uh, Bayern Munich in that level, because right now I don't. I know Thomas Tuchel's sides, when he starts to reign, he pause in terms of conflict with players and not being able to manage the decorum in the dressing room. So I expect Bayern Munich to have a big crack in the wall if he is not even fired before the end of the season. But the way things are looking, I won't be surprised if Thomas Tuchel is fired from Bayern Munich. So having said that, do you think Sarri and his boys could be regarded as dark horses in this year's Champions League, the way they play today?
I can only say they are dark horses just because of Sarri. Remove Sarri from the equation, then there are no dark horses. Sarri is a brilliant coach and can make things happen. So yes, I'll give Lazio a chance because of their coach.
Okay, we'll see how that goes in the second leg. Then another thing before we go, what did you make of Thomas Muller still starts for Bayern Munich?
That's Thomas Tuchel for you. There's no reason. I mean, Thomas Muller is a great player. Yes, he has paid his dues. He's done a lot. But tell me any of his contemporaries anywhere in Europe that's still starting for a top club. Well, even if the likes of Luka Modric are no longer even starting consistently for Real
Real
Madrid.
Madrid.
You know? Yeah, considering his form and considering his pedigree and everything.
Exactly, and the role that he plays in the team.
And the role he plays in the team. So Thomas Muller should be somebody that they bring in to try and manage a game and, not for him to start. And you can see it during the game. You can see that the man the man really doesn't have much to offer anymore physically, right? The brain may be there, but brain can only achieve so much when the body is not there to make it work. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, then we'll move to PSG at home to Real Sociedad. Just like Harry Kane did for Bayern Munich, we saw Mbappe miss an early chance. It looked like it was going to be one of those days for PSG. Of course, the same Mbappe came back and rescued PSG with a very, very Mbappe-like goal through what I would call a wrong defensive uh, uh, role by the team. And PSG went up. And of course, in few minutes, you could see the young man, Emery, came with a solo goal that showed a lot of talent and bravery from the young man. And the second goal was scored. And that was a wrap for PSG against Real Sociedad. I don't know, what's the general view of that game, how that game panned out?
Tricky game for PSG. I actually predicted or made it. I thought Sociedad had a really good chance of beating PSG because they are a solid side from Spain, full of good, solid players. Even Nigeria's Sadiq Omar is there, and they have a bunch of players that are quite, very credible. So I expected a fight, a solid fight from Sociedad. PSG were good enough to get a 2-0 2-0 win, which will stand them in good stead because when they get to Spain, they're going to be up against it. Trust me, Sociedad, they're going to fight. When they get to the second leg, and it's interesting. I don't think PSG are home and dry yet. I think that they still have a lot to get through. But having said that, when you have Kylian Mbappe, you have a chance. There's no doubt about that. He's proven that over and over again that he's world class. Not just that he's world class, he's a game changer, he's a big game player. When the chips are down, he will carry that ball, and if he has to kill himself to get in the net, he usually would do that.
Yeah, exactly. And having said that, PSG seem to have been walking away from the Galacticos module. Of course, today you could see no Neymar, Messi has gone, Neymar is gone, Mbappe is touted to most likely leave at the end of the season. Do you think this is better for PSG, or do you still expect them to sign big names come next summer?
I think it's better for them considering the history. I think they should concentrate on building a squad that can win them in Champions League, the much coveted Champions League. They've already won the French League multiple times, right? Building that squad is not going to be about buying superstars. It's about buying great players that are very, very good at their positions and are highly coveted. And they have the money to do that. It's just getting the right director of football in and buying the right players, getting the right chemistry, getting the right coach. And they have a good chance of winning because the money is there to get into the market.
I agree with you. I think PSG need to move away from the Galacticos module. It's just a matter of having a good scout, identifying what quality players around Europe who suit what they are trying to do. They have good football playing side. All they need to do is to get superior talent and committed players, players that will come to PSG because they want to play for PSG, not players that will come because they want to come and earn extra cash, and help their career, their family. So PSG walking away from the Galacticos, for me, is a good development, and I expect them with the tutelage of Enrique to be able to attract fantastic talent all around Europe and build a formidable team for the club and for the fans. There was something that surprised me today. The news all over Europe in the last couple of weeks is Mbappe is going to join Real Madrid at the end of the season. The kind of committed performance that he had today in this game, I was like, this Mbappe might not be really what people say he is, because some players would have down tools and just show up and go home, regardless of what happens. I'm leaving at the end of the season, and it just happens like that. But today, he was inspirational. He was committed. You could see that he was eager to make things happen for his team. I don't know what you make of this attitude.
You see, the young man can be cocky, he can be arrogant, he can be anything that they say. But Mbappe, once he crosses that white line and gets on the field, he gives 100%. I haven't seen him talk around or do anything like that once he's on the pitch. So that's why the guy remains one of the few, maybe if you were going to account on one hand, genuine superstars in the game left at this age. At his, how young he is. He is a real premium superstar. And so I think that there's a switch that he turns on once he enters the field. Every other thing can stay aside, and he commits himself and delivers. I rate Victor Osimhen of Nigeria with that kind of mentality as well. He's not anywhere close to Mbappe yet, but he has that mentality. If he gets on that field, as long as he's fit, you will feel his presence. So yeah, that's one thing Mbappe has that will never leave him. And that's what will makes him one of the most coveted players in the world today.
Yeah, Choma is not here today, but word on the street today is that Mbappe will willingly join Arsenal at the end of the season. Ugum, as an Arsenal fan, talk to our fans about this one. Is it just one of those rumors people, peddle to get clicks on their platforms, or do you see anything happening? And if this comes to pass, where will he rate us now in terms of competing for honors in Europe next season?
So I look at it from two angles. One angle, a song comes to mind. Dream, dream. So yes, Arsenal fans can dream. Like was it Bonnie M or ABBA that sang that song? We can only dream of getting a player like Mbappe on one side in terms of the cost. For me, it's no other thing apart from the cost. This dude will probably earns about 600 to 700,000 pounds a week already, right? I am not sure that Arsenal. Let me just say I am sure that Arsenal cannot afford to pay him. Now it's a different conversation from whether he's a fit for Arsenal or whether he will even agree to come to Arsenal. Leave the money issue aside. He's a great fit, and I'm sure he would want to play with the current Arsenal team because Arsenal are balling presently. See what they did against West Ham. Arsenal are playing so well, playing with chemistry, playing robust, swashbuckling football. So yes, he will be a great fit, but money is involved, and when money is involved, we know that Arsenal tend to be practical, if I may use that word, when it comes to the issue of money. I'm not sure that they can afford to get Mbappe.
I disagree with you, Gum. I don't think, for me, Arsenal can afford and will be willing to pay Mbappe if he's willing to come. You look at our owners in the American football, they went around and picked the best players in teams and won championships. In the last 2 seasons, Arsenal has created a huge space in their wage bill by taking away people like Ozil, Aubameyang. Arsenal's wage structure right now, wage bill right now is very, very healthy, and they're still going to let some players go at the end of the season. I know they have increased Saka, Saliba's salary, but they still have a lot of space, and they can afford Mbappe. Remember that 2 years ago, or less than 2 years ago, the director, Josh, told Arsenal fans that they should expect to be excited that the club is going to do big things. So in that regard, I don't see anything big about signing Mbappe. And of course, these clubs have a way of getting people like Adidas and Nike to carry some of the bills that are associated with signing some of these big players. So they can, I believe Arsenal can work out something. For me, it all depends on if will Mbappe want to come to Arsenal. And on that front, I don't see anything wrong with Mbappe coming to Arsenal. I don't think you will find it like a downgrade from PSG. After all, PSG right now, in terms of footballing reasons, is not bigger than us. It's not better than Arsenal in terms of playing the game. What brought him to what kept him in PSG in the last 2-3 seasons has just been money. So if Arsenal can pay the bills, I don't see anything wrong, anything hard with Mbappe coming to Arsenal. And the saying is that he is willing. So we don't know if it's a rumor. We don't know if it's a fake news. If it is true, I think Arsenal can afford to sign Mbappe. I don't see anything wrong with him signing for Arsenal. I don't know what our viewers out there think. I know this one is going to be a controversial one. We'll see what that unfold at the end of the season. So our viewers, thank you for sticking with us. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so. The first leg or first 4 games in the knockout stage of the Champions League has been concluded. It's only one game, one team who can say that they are almost a wrap for them into the next stage, which is Manchester City against Copenhagen. Real Madrid, a slim victory away from home against RB Leipzig, 1-0. I don't think that game is a wrap yet. Lazio at home beat Bayern Munich. Sarri ball was superior to Thomas Tuchel with his Bayern Munich boys. So I don't think that one is a wrap as well. Bayern will go to Italy and try to upturn Lazio in that one. Of course, PSG, we heard what Ubun just said. PSG, though they are 2-0 up against Real Sociedad, that's a very trickery team, a team that is that plays like a team. It's possible. Of course, obviously, PSG is in an advantage position, yes, but that tie is not done yet. So we'll see what happens in the next stage. Next week, we'll continue with the other teams. Arsenal is in that cluster, and we will continue to bring you a coverage of the Champions League, UEFA Champions League this season, the knockout stages as they come. Thank you, our viewers, for staying with us. Ugum, thanks for coming again today and giving us your thoughts on these games. And it's always a pleasure working with you.
My pleasure.
Thank
My
you,
pleasure,
guys.
bro.
And bye for now. Ciao.